Good evening, everybody. How you doing? This is the Token and Hobbs Show, a Road to Liberty podcast on the Think Liberty Network. I am so glad that you guys are still around to listen to us and that we are still here to speak to you. It's a crazy world that we're going through now. We got to get through this shit together. So let's get it on. I'm Token. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Dustin Hobbs. What's up, my man?
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's the Token and Hobbs Show.
Is that going to be our intro now? Just you doing that?
No,
No?
I don't think so. I just had to get my little bit of that bitch Carol Baskins out of my system.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
Oh God, I fucking love it. Have you seen that show, like the whole thing?
I think we got 2 episodes left.
Oh man, it's fucking great. It's so good. Fucking the Tiger King is it's one of those things, right? Every now and then Netflix comes out with something that for whatever reason everybody watches and they're all talking about it. It was Stranger Things, it was Bird Box, now it's this, right? And the funny thing is, I was just flipping through Netflix and I saw Joe Exotic's face and I looked at him like, I fucking know that guy. I know that guy. And then sure enough, sure as shit, Joe Exotic, I knew him from his run for governor back in 2016. We almost had him on the show. Almost. We were going to. We had, because he was running against 2 other libertarians, right? He was running in the primary. And we had both his opponents on the show, right? But we didn't talk to Joe because he was, one, way behind. Like, we didn't think he had a shot in hell of winning, which, spoiler alert, he doesn't. But 2, we were like, this guy is too fucking crazy to have on our show. Like, this is one of those libertarians, quote unquote, because I don't think he's really a libertarian, that just wants to be as flamboyant as possible, right? He's like Star Child or Vermin Supreme, one of those kind of guys. James Weeks, you know, the convention stripper. I mean, we all remember from 4 years ago. So yeah, we were considering having him on, but we ultimately decided against it. To my chagrin now, because that would have been an awesome show. And we could have been blasting that everywhere now that he's famous.
True story.
I mean, it's amazing to me people know who Joe Exotic is. Joe fucking Exotic. I didn't know about any of this shit back then, right? I looked at him and I just saw a flamboyant, crazy, out of his mind dude running for governor as a libertarian. And I immediately thought it was like, who's that guy that keeps running in Nebraska, tried to run as a libertarian? You know who I'm talking about? Mark Ellsworth. He reminded me of him, right? One of these days we're gonna get a Mark Ellsworth Netflix series, and we're all gonna say, I knew that guy. I knew that guy, and I knew it was fucking insane even then.
Yeah, Mark Ellsworth is running as a Democrat against me for my congressional seat. Even though he doesn't live in this district. I don't know how or why that's possible, but yeah.
No, he's got to be. Is he being primaried or is he running unopposed?
I don't know. I don't care.
You better get more votes than them. You better. You can't let Mark Ellsworth get more votes than you.
Well, in this district, it's probably going to be like a 95% Republican.
Dude, the thing about Mark, though, he's a fucking bum. This dude doesn't have a job, right? So whereas you have to go to work every day to earn money, Mark does whatever the hell he does to make money. I don't even know how does he even make money at this point? He doesn't do anything. All he does is smoke weed all day. So yeah. I have no idea how he lives. He's a weird dude. Carol fucking Baskin.
Must be Carol fucking Baskin.
She did it. She fucking did it.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt in my mind. She murdered her husband and fed him to a tiger.
way too chipper about it. Like, of course I didn't murder my husband. Oh, bitch, you guilty.
Yeah, she's guilty. Remember when Joe got like attacked by his tiger, and she's like, attacked by his tiger? How would I ever do that? I mean, if I really wanted Joe to be attacked by a tiger, I'd put like fish oil in his boots, something like that. Like,
that's
did you dip your husband in fish oil and feed him to a tiger? Oh my God, Joe! I gotta look up his "Hey Kitty Kitty" video, because that is just fucking amazing. That was like the best part.
If it's
of
not
the whole show.
if it's not number one on iTunes within the next week, I'll be legitimately surprised.
Is this it?
We got too much. We got too much news to cover.
Oh, we do. Okay, so I guess I won't play "Hey Kitty Kitty" that I just pulled up on YouTube just now. Nah, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Yeah, we don't want to get a copyright strike.
Yeah, Joe Exotic will sue us from jail or something. I don't know.
Joe, we love you.
We love you, Joe. Free Joe. Let's get him out of prison. He didn't do it, but he should have, because that goddamn bitch Carol Baskin.
That's right.
That's right. All right, so let's talk a little bit of news. Now, as we all know, there's only one thing in the news really to talk about, and that's this goddamn virus that's going all over the place and freaking everybody out and turning this country into a fucking police state right before our very eyes. And no one seems to have a problem with it either. You know, that's the crazy thing about it.
That's the worst part about it is just how little people seem to give a shit about this whole demolishing of our civil liberties right before our eyes. And I think it's mostly because it's not impacting anybody yet. At least not that bad, not a large group of people.
I mean, it kind of is, though, because like whole states have shut down completely at this point, like ordering people to stay in their homes. Like Nebraska is one of the few that doesn't have a lockdown order, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I live in this state and not in fucking California, where you can't even go out into the ocean without being arrested. You see the story you're doing? There's this man in Malibu, right? He decided he wanted to go waterboarding out in the ocean, away from everybody. There's no one around him, right? He's in the ocean waterboarding. He's just paddling along, doing his thing. And the police break social distancing in order to arrest him. Amazing. Well done. And the dude faces up to 6 months in jail for this. He wasn't near anybody. He was just out chilling in the ocean.
Yep. Gonna give the sharks the Rona.
Yeah. You can't have that. A shark will eat him, and then a shark will bite someone else, and that's how the virus spreads. Shark to human.
Yeah.
That'd be a terrifying virus.
Zombie sharks.
Zombie sharks. Dude, that would be fucking horrible. Zombie fucking sharks. We can't have that. But yeah, stuff like this is going on all over the country. And quite frankly, it's amazing that it's not happening, it's being cheered on. People are celebrating and people are demanding more and more draconian actions being taken by our government in order to lock this thing down. And look, I understand this coronavirus. It's a scary thing. It's not good. It's a serious thing. I'm taking it seriously. But can we put things in perspective here, right? All these people calling Donald Trump a goddamn Nazi for the last 4 years are now just going to hand him the keys to your very lives, right? You're going to turn him into an actual dictatorship so he can fight this thing? Is that okay with you? It's not okay with me. I'm not cool with Donald Trump being a dictator over America. I'm not cool with giving our governor the power to do that either.
Yeah. The thing is that you got these people that are not only cheerleading it, but also making excuses for it. And it's the, just follow the law, that bullshit crowd. The thing about it is that this isn't law. These are orders. These are executive actions. They're guidelines. They're bureaucratic nonsense that's going. They were never drafted in legislatures. They were never brought up for a vote. They were never signed into law by the governor. These are just orders, and it'd be okay if it was just a suggestion, but no, these are just executive orders by governors that are being enforced as if they were law.
Yeah, in the case of California, the people who break these lockdown orders face 6 months in jail, right? On the say so of the governor, on his authority alone, right? I haven't read the Constitution in a week, but nowhere in there do I remember it saying that governors have the right to simply say, "Oh yeah, if you go outside, you go to jail for 6 months."
Yeah,
like that's not a thing.
And the crazy thing about it is, and I think this is probably one of the rare instances in which Trump or maybe one of his advisors told him to do this, is he's taken a very hands-off approach as far as these lockdown orders are going. He's leaving it up to the states, which is, very good from a 10th Amendment perspective, letting the states handle things the way that they want to see fit. And the governors are taking it and absolutely going buck wild with it. And at first you had, a lot of the federal Democrats were saying that Trump, oh, he's not doing enough, and then he's doing too much, and now he's not doing enough again, and they can't make up their minds. They're just still on their orange man bad trip. But I think that when all of this is said and done, and we're able to take a step back, and we're going to see which governors went absolutely batshit insane with the lockdowns and the regulations and just the heavy-handed approach, and which ones didn't, it's going to blow back on these, TDS level 7 crazies in the House and the Senate that can't make up their minds whether or not, Trump is a do-nothing or an authoritarian dictator. They flip-flop back and forth.
See, I don't know that it will, especially for the governors who are doing this. I don't know if it will blow back on them in the end, because everyone is so on board with all this. You're not even allowed to question it, right? Like, you're not even allowed to say, hey, maybe this is going too far. Oh, you just want people to die for the stock market and profits. I'm sure you've been seeing this everywhere. You're like, oh, you just want people to die so that stock executives' portfolios can stay up. Like, I don't give a fuck about those guys. No. I care about my dad, whose work just suspended operations the other day. I care about my friends who don't have a job anymore. Right? I care about my neighbors who have to go on unemployment for the first time in their lives. I care about them. They're the ones affected by this thing. I don't give a fuck about CEOs at Fortune 500 companies. I give a damn about them. I give a damn about every single employee of every single restaurant that was forced to shut its doors and will not have a job when this thing lifts. Right? I care about them and their livelihoods and their ability to make a living. They're the ones I care about, not CEOs and stock executives.
Yeah, and like the small businesses like the one that I work for, the profit margins are razor thin. So if they were ordered to shut down, and we won't be because we work for, we work for like the DOD and the Department of Transportation, and we do some stuff like that. But like if we were ordered to shut down for 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, my bosses couldn't afford to pay all of us with no work coming in and no work being done. And I wouldn't want the federal government to bail them out by just printing more money out of thin air and putting this, because if they gotta pay my salary and the 100 guys or so that I work with, pay all of our salary and do that across the country, that's a lot of goddamn money that we don't have. And where's it all coming from? Poof, the Fed.
Yeah, it's not real. Like, none of that money, none of the money in any of these bills is real. They're just They're just banking on our ability to pay it off in the future. And you know what? The way things are going, I don't know if we are going to have that ability in the future. So let's get talking to some nitty details here, because one of the big things we need to know just how serious we should take this virus is accurate data. Right? We need to know how deadly this thing is. We need to know how widespread this thing is. We need to know what measures can be taken to prevent it, to stop it, and we need to know what the end goal is. What's the end date, right? What does victory look like, right? This reminds me a lot about the war on terror, because there was never a victory condition given for that, and there doesn't seem to be a victory condition given to this. Like, where's the guarantee that when these lockdowns are lifted, that it's not just going to spike up again and we're all going to go scurrying to our homes again, right? So we need accurate data. And one of the things we're not getting from our government or the experts in this situation is accurate data. So I want to read you a little bit about this is from the CDC, and it's about deciding what to count as a coronavirus death and not. It was a statement issued on March 24th. The CDC guideline tells hospitals to list COVID-19 as a cause of death, regardless of whether or not there's actual testing to confirm that's the cause. Instead, even if the coronavirus was just a contributing factor, or if it is assumed to have caused or contributed to death, it can be listed as the primary cause, right? So this is from the CDC, and this is one of the things that makes it very hard to trust these numbers, right? And you see this out of Italy as well. Italy is counting anyone that died with the coronavirus as being caused by the coronavirus. So say you get hit by a car in Italy, and then they test you, turns out you have coronavirus, that's a death caused by coronavirus. It's one of the reasons why the death toll in Italy seems to be so high, where in other places it seems to be a lot lower, because they're counting anybody that died with the virus as having died of the virus. Yep. And this is important. This is something to keep in mind. This is not conspiracy theory crap. This is from the CDC. This is how Italy's actually counting their numbers, right? And like you and I will look at that and say, well, that's probably going to inflate the number of deaths of coronavirus.
It's definitely going to inflate the numbers.
We don't want inaccurate data going around, because inaccurate data leads to bad policy, right?
Yep.
And that's what we're going to have. But you can't talk about that. You can't mention that, because apparently, and I've seen this a lot of places, that if you point this out, you're downplaying it. You're conducting, you're being a conspiracy theorist. You're not being serious. You're not taking this pandemic seriously enough. I'm like, I just want accurate data, dude. I just want these numbers to be accurate. Is that so much to ask?
And the other, we're getting it from both ends as far as getting bad data goes, because we're relying on the Chinese government for a timeline. You know, when did this whole thing kick off in their territory? And there are some reports that it was late December. There are some reports that are saying it was late October or early November. We don't know as far as the timeline goes. And there's some people who are saying that it started a lot earlier than we expect, and a lot of people have already had it, thought it was just a cold or the flu, got over it, and that whole flattening the curve thing it's already been done. That the majority of this has already passed, or we are at the peak now, and we're about to see the downward trend. And the panic, the lockdowns, the economic damage, the money printer go brrr that we're experiencing right now is completely unnecessary. And there's a lot of reasons, you know, behind the scenes why they're doing it. You know, it's not all just Orange Man bad, but that's a good deal of what they have, you know, the reason that they're doing it. But it's also a lot of governments around the world are taking advantage of this mass panic to consolidate power. You've got Viktor Orban in Hungary is a legit, like, early 20th century dictator now. Like, he has absolute authority, and they not only let him, but they kind of cheered him on until he was like, "Nah, this is indefinite now." And they're like, "Oh shit." You know, they didn't have a sunset for it. You've got the UK is got its own whole host of problems where the UK is an island. If anybody if anybody is set up to fight this effectively, it's a country like the UK. But the government is just like hell bent for leather for bringing in as many refugees as possible, and now they've got an explosion in London and some of the other big cities, and the normal people are just like, hey, we had Brexit for a reason. Other countries like Russia and Singapore and Japan, which did the exact opposite approach and completely locked their countries down, they're not having a problem with it. And Japan is right there next to China. So is Singapore, and so is Russia. So I don't know, man. This whole thing is just crazy.
And that's the thing about it. We need accurate information from China, the epicenter of this whole thing, and they're not forthcoming. They're still pretending like they have no new cases, right? Oh, no new cases in the epicenter of this global pandemic. No, guys, you don't have to worry about us. Our 1.5 billion people, none of them are getting the Wuhan flu anymore. So no worries there. Here's the thing about it. We know that's a lie. That's been a lie from the very beginning. China has not been forthcoming with anybody about any of this from day one. So if you trust a single thing coming out of China, you are an absolute idiot. You need to stop right now. You are carrying water from an authoritarian regime that bears a good amount of the responsibility for this mess, right? They bear a lot of the responsibility. And, not all of it, right? It's the job of individual countries to deal with this problem, to contain it, to not let it get out of hand. And you know what? A lot of places, including the United States, failed at that. Didn't take it seriously enough, early enough, and now we're dealing with consequences. But you know what? To pretend like China does not have any of the blame for this is pure idiocy, right? They do. They bear a lot of the responsibility. And when this is all said and done, they're going to bear the consequences for their mistakes. That's what's going to happen. Meanwhile, one of the organizations that decided to carry water for the Chinese Communist Party is now advocating for something very striking in my mind. This guy is a doctor, one of the head doctors for the World Health Organization, and you're going to hear him advocate for going into people's homes and kidnapping family members who are infected with corona for the purpose of preventing it from spreading. So let's hear what this guy has to say.
Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Oh, in a safe and dignified manner. Thank you, Mr. Who. You're gonna come into my home. You're gonna kidnap me or one of my family members, but you're gonna do it in a safe and dignified manner. Thank you so much, Mr. Government Man. I am so relieved to hear that.
Well, I don't know what planet he's living on, but if he tries some shit like that around where I'm from, there's gonna be a reckoning.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. This guy clearly doesn't understand that something like that is going to get a lot of Fed boys shot up.
In
right?
this country, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe in Ireland.
Yeah, I don't know about in the UK or Italy or some of these other European countries, but Jesus, man, you're talking about having soldiers and police and doctors barge into people's homes, testing people for coronavirus, and then taking them away. Right, but yeah. But he said humanely and with dignity. So I guess it's okay, right? They're going to be nice about it.
Yeah, there used to be a time way back in the day before vaccines were widely pushed that the kid down the street would get measles. Remember measles when everybody had the absolute fucking freak out about that last year? Yeah, well, measles wasn't always the end of the world apocalypse that they made it out to be last year. It used to be that when the kid down the street got measles, all of the parents in the neighborhood would bring their kid to that kid's house so that the whole neighborhood would get measles and get it over with right away. What this guy is saying is happening is we're pushing the infection out of the streets and into the homes. Yeah, no shit. That's where families do the caring for each other. That's not the state's responsibility to take care of you. It's your family's responsibility to take care of you. So even if you got your infections pushed back into your homes, that's the best place for it. Not in a hospital with a whole bunch of goddamn strangers. Get over the kung flu in the comfort of your own home, and then get your ass back to work.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, honestly, do they have the expectation that you're going to stay 6 feet away from your family members in your own home?
Yeah, y'all are breathing the same air.
Gets it, if one person gets it in your house, you're all going to get it. There's no stopping that. Like, say I get it at work. Say that happens somehow, and I come home with it. It's going to spread because we got what? We got 4 rooms and a big common area. That's it, right? We're not staying 6 feet apart from each other. That's not going to happen. But oh boy, sending some cops, be like, oh, we got to take you guys away. You guys are infected with the coronavirus. We got to take you away. Oh, your son has it. Your 4-year-old son has it. Sorry, he's got to come with us. Like, no, he doesn't. He's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. And you guys aren't coming in this house. That's not going to happen. And you know what? That same scene is going to play out all across this country. A lot of those guys in California that were anti-gun a month ago, that went out and bought themselves a gun, yeah, you best believe they're probably going to do the same thing too. Right? So just try it, Mr. Who. Try it.
On that note, here in a couple of months when all this blows over, y'all are going to have a lot of cheap consignment guns down at the pawn shop.
Yeah. That's a well, see, here's the thing about it. I'm hoping
silver linings.
I'm hoping that housing prices come down because of this thing.
Yeah,
right?
On a serious and somewhat sad note, the economic crash is probably going to cause a lot of people to get their houses foreclosed on. So I'm going to be looking for that $35,000 4-bedroom 2-bath that I missed out on the last time the housing market collapsed.
Back in 2008.
Yeah, because I didn't have a credit score.
I was still living at home back then, so I didn't get to take advantage of that. But you know what? This time around, I got plenty of money in the bank. I'm just waiting to use it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's the WHO. We all know what's up with the WHO. They've been in the pockets of the Chinese government from the very beginning. They were spreading the Chinese lie that this thing wasn't transmissible from person to person. So we all know that we can disregard them. They have nothing of any value at all to say. Now, on a funnier note, here we have the mayor of Los Angeles. What's his name? Eric Galvetti. Is that his name? Something like that. I don't care enough to look at it. I think his name is Eric Galvetti. And he is trying to enforce his stay-at-home order. And he is asking for all of Californians, to become no good, dirty snitches on their neighbors. He wants a state of Karens, essentially. So here's what he has to say on that.
We need to make sure that everybody continues to let us know where those folks are. If you've observed recurring violations of the Safer at Home order, please continue to let us know at coronavirus.lacity.org/business violation. You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards. We want to thank you for turning folks in and making sure we are all safe.
You know what? Talk about missed opportunities. The saying that he was referencing there was, snitches get stitches. He had the perfect opportunity to say, snitches get riches, and he fucking blew it.
What an asshole.
Snitches get rewards.
Rewards. Like, no, dude. Snitches still get stitches, especially in this case. Like, do you ever watch? Do you remember watching Band of Brothers when it came out?
Not when it came out, but I got a very good story about the first time I saw Band of Brothers.
Okay, well, let me tell mine first. Like,
All right.
do you remember the scene where they're liberating Holland, right? And there's this hot chick. She's all over one of the American soldiers. And then they drag her off and shave her head down. He's like, what the hell? And he's like, slept with the Nazis. Like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm picturing that's how people today who are snitching on their neighbors are going to be treated once this whole thing is blown over, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be dragged into the streets. They're going to be shaved. And everyone's gonna be like, why? Like, snitched on their neighbors for going on a walk. Oh, okay. Carry on. Totally deserve it.
Yep, definitely. And that's that kind of dovetails nicely into the purge sirens being used in Louisiana. You know, so like there's going to be a 15-minute window of lawlessness of where you could just drag any of these Karens out in the middle of the street and, like, I don't know, brand a capital letter K on their forehead or shave their hair off or something.
Tyler Bean says, I'm gonna be real, I'm snitching on everyone for that money. Yo, come after me if you want to. He didn't say money. He didn't say snitches get money. He said rewards, and he never elaborated on what that reward might be.
Might just be a pat on the head from Galcetti or whatever that dude's name is.
Maybe he'll give them like a pin for them to put on their clothing, which would be extra convenient because then we know who these people are.
You get a little golden star.
They mark themselves as Karens and drag them into the streets. Like, look, you know, seriously, if you're reporting on people, stop it. Don't be a bitch. All right, you are being a bad person. You know, I understand that you're very concerned about the spread of coronavirus. We all are. All right, I understand it's a serious thing, but stop being a little bitch. All right. This does not make you a good person. Does not make you morally superior to anybody. You're just being an idiot. Stop it. No one likes a Karen.
Nope.
Mercedes says, free weed. Oh, maybe it is California. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, man. If it's free weed, then a lot of people are going to start turning into Karens. But they're not going to do that. The Californian government is not smart enough to give away prizes that people actually want. They're going to get a pat on the back. They're going to give them like a little star and be like, good job.
Y'all still need that toilet paper,
on your neighbor for taking a walk. Good job.
Y'all still need that toilet paper, right? Reminds me of a picture I saw of Nicolas Maduro giving bonuses to Venezuelan police officers who were enforcing his laws back when things were really, really bad. Well, I guess they still are really bad, but he was giving his officers bonuses, and it was like a loaf of bread and a package of toilet paper, and they looked so disappointed.
Like, wow. You gave me the gift of a clean asshole. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you. Man, I'm surprised none of them like just shot him right there, right then. Like, you asshole. I mean, that's what they used to do in the old days. Like, when a Roman emperor would cut the pay of his soldiers, they'd cut off his head and auction off the position of emperor to the highest bidder. Like, that literally happened. Like, they killed the emperor, and they're like, now what? Who do we make emperor? I know. Let's sell the position to the highest bidder.
Yes, murderous.
That didn't work out very well for them. But you know what? Maybe it would work out well for Venezuelan police if they took out Maduro.
Hey, you know, that system of government has been tried and failed a lot less than communism has, and people still keep going back to communism. So, who knows?
Who knows, man? I don't know. And here's the thing. This leads to all kinds of crazy situations, right? Such as this man in Colorado, who was arrested in front of his 6-year-old daughter for the crime of playing T-ball with her at a park. So let's listen to this video for a little bit, and we can see exactly what we're talking about.
The monster.
Apparently arresting a dad for throwing a ball to his daughter.
It was a former city council member who could not believe what he was recording.
In a park of about, I don't know, 30, 40 acres. But apparently that is not allowed by Brighton.
If you don't give us your information, we're going to put you in handcuffs in front of your 6-year-old daughter.
Matt Mooney is the 33-year-old dad who assured his daughter they were doing nothing wrong when police approached and told them they were violating the state's social distancing guideline.
She's like, Daddy, I don't want you to get arrested. And you know, at this point, I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to arrest me. You know, there's no way. This is insane. And, you know, so I'm telling her, I'm like, don't worry, Daddy's not going to get arrested. You know, I've done nothing wrong. You know, don't worry about it. And then they arrest me.
The sign at Donaldson Park says closed, but in smaller print says in groups of no more than 4 persons, parks remain open for walking, hiking, biking, running, and similar activities. Matt was just there with his wife and 6-year-old. He says it was the officers who were violating social distancing guidelines.
During this whole contact, you know, none of the officers had masks on. None of them had gloves on. You know, and they're in my face, handcuffing me. They're touching me.
I certainly don't think it's appropriate for a father to be handcuffed in front of his family.
Kirby Wallen took the cell phone footage and shared it with the problem solvers.
He's being taken away by the Brighton police for playing softball with his daughter.
All right, so let's stop it there. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that we are starting to see because, yeah, honk that horn, dude. Honk that horn. But it's nuts because here's a guy, he's not doing anything wrong. He's out in the middle of a field, right? Away from people. He's playing T-ball with his 6-year-old daughter and his wife, right? These are people that live with each other, that are within 6 feet of each other every single day, all the time. And yet he is being arrested for breaking social distancing ordinances by being close to his family members. It's insane.
Yeah, it is, and the common sense takes a nosedive after that. It's like, you know, like you said, you know, they live together. There's no way that they're going to be able to, you know, not be near each other when they're at home. You know, it almost reminds me of like when I would go to like a military post that had a basic training element, like Fort Benning. And, you know, even though I was, you know, well past that stage, I still had to act like I was in a basic training environment so that the people who were in a basic training environment would, you know what right looks like. You know, I couldn't, like, you know, wear my booty hat. I had to, you know, all the dress right, you know, basic training type crap. And it's like, you know, even though these people live together, they're not allowed to be close to each other in public because that might give somebody the wrong idea or some dumb shit like that. That's what it reminds me of. It's like mass punishment.
It is complete nonsense. And I posted this picture to our group, the Roadkill Cafe, earlier today, where there was a couple taking a walk together in New York City, right? And a couple police officers came up to them and said, you have to be 6 feet apart. Like, we live together. We live in the same apartment building. So what's the point of making us go 6 feet apart? And they're like, no, doesn't matter. You still have to separate. Ironic part, of course, is that the cops were right next to each other, not 6 feet apart. So apparently cops can't get it from each other. Only close family members can get it from each other. That's the message I'm getting here.
Well, see, the thing is that silver for millennia has been known to have antimicrobial properties. So the badge protects them from getting the disease, the silver badge.
So there you go. It also
secret.
protects them from vampires.
Yes.
And werewolves.
Yes.
So, yeah, they put some silver in their badges, and all of a sudden they're fucking Superman. They cannot be harmed. They cannot get coronavirus from each other.
Yes, they're also immune from irony and charges of hypocrisy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Silver's fucking great, man.
It's fucking nuts, dude. I don't understand what would bring people to report on their neighbors like this. Like, oh, I see someone walking their dog. I see someone getting some fresh air. I see someone going about their life, right? How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they? I need to call the police on them. I want them to get arrested because you know where people belong? In confined spaces, locked in a room with dozens of other people. Right? We got to let the fucking thieves out of jail, but we got to put the people who disobey social distancing in there.
Yep.
Irony knows no bounds, and government is a fucking sledgehammer, and it will destroy everything it touches if you let it. And we're letting it. We're letting it run rampant on us right now, and it's fucking scary to see that happening.
Yep. I think I saw one of these busybody Karens the other day when I was on my way home from work. There's a middle-aged woman standing in her yard, just in the middle of her yard, on her cell phone. And the other day they closed all the parks down in Grand Island. And I didn't see any kids playing in the park, but she was, on her phone staring into the park, and I couldn't see like from the trees or the cars or anything, but I can just imagine with the look on her face. She was calling the cops.
There's some kids in the park that are playing around and having fun and not living in fear.
How dare they? The little monsters. Lock them away.
Monsters.
I mean, we had that show a couple of weeks ago where that little girl was arrested in her elementary school because she threw a fit, right? We're going to fill the prisons up with little kids who played outside. Is that what we're going to do?
Yep.
Like, how dare you? You played outside. I thought that's what we wanted kids to do, right? Everyone was complaining 2 months ago about how all kids do these days, to stay indoors and play video games. And now they all want to go outside, and fucking Karens are calling the cops on them all the time. Like, it's spring. The weather's beautiful. It was 80 degrees today. You go get some fresh air. You stay 6 feet from other people. Maybe we'll do that all the time anyway, right? Who gets within 6 feet of strangers if they can help it? Nobody actually does that. Just let the kids go outside. Let them play. Let them run around in the field. Don't call the cops on a dad playing t-ball with his 6-year-old daughter.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. So let's talk about a more serious topic. We've talked on this show before about our thoughts on the draft, and I've made it clear in no uncertain terms that I consider drafts to be nothing less than slavery. Right? You're forcing people out of their homes to go fight in the war they want nothing to do with. That is slavery. You are enslaving young men for the purpose of murder. That's what a draft is. And I've made no bones about that position, and I will not change that position. That is how I feel about the topic. Well, the esteemed mayor of New York doesn't feel that way. Mayor Bill de Blasio wants a national draft for doctors. And he wants this draft so that he can take doctors from various parts of the country and redeploy them to hot spots. Oh, geez, where is... No, stop. I didn't want you yet. But he wants to redeploy doctors to areas that are hard hit by this virus. And he wants to do this in order to alleviate coronavirus. So he essentially wants to draft doctors. He wants like a national army of doctors, and he wants to deploy them to New York. Now, I don't think this is any different from a draft on young men to go fight in a war. This is an act of slavery that he is proposing here. Nothing less. You cannot force the doctor, and he's not just talking about current doctors. He's talking about people who have some medical training, or people who are retired, or whatever the case may be. Like, oh, if you're a nurse and you decide to get a different job, too bad, we're drafting you.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what he's saying. So let's see what he has to say. If the video ever decides to play.
Now from CBS 2 News, this is a special report.
Reason to hope, no matter how tough it's going to get. There are so many reasons to be thankful for all the people who are helping our city, all the good people around this city, all the good people around.
Okay, that clip is way too long, and I'm not going to watch that whole thing. So here is the gist of what Mayor de Blasio is getting at. He is at, well, I already went over the gist. He wants to draft doctors. He wants to take them to New York. He wants to create a slave army of doctors, send them to New York in order to help his city out, which, you know what, I can understand. Allow me to present an alternative option. Pay them. Offer a ridiculous wage for doctors to travel to your city to work on patients, right? Make it voluntary. Do not force people to do a damn thing. No, doctors do not give up their right to free will just because they become a doctor, right? If you want their services, you need to convince them to give their services. Just like anybody else in this world, you do not own their labor. You do not own them. And they do not owe you a damn thing. If you want a doctor from Nebraska to come to New York and help coronavirus patients, offer them a wage they cannot refuse. Problem solved. No need for slavery.
New York City is the financial hub of the world. There is plenty of money going around there. And hell, it doesn't even have to be de Blasio offering these doctors wages. You could get a co-op of people who want to hire a doctor on retainer, like a concierge doctor, to come and treat them, to be on call, and would pay him an agreed upon sum of money. You could get businesses to contract out doctors. You could have hospitals lease their equipment and bed space to out-of-state doctors to come in. There are lots and lots of free market, voluntary methods that this could be handled with. But no, people like de Blasio want to immediately go to the hammer of the state to force people to do things against their will. And that's the whole argument of the free healthcare crowd is doctors are necessary, ergo I need to have doctors provided to me regardless of the market demands or the prices incurred upon them. It's, it's like, what's next? Free food, free housing. Oh, don't give them any ideas because they'll take you up on it.
They're going to take you up on that. That's the thing about it. It's so ridiculous to me that this is the place they're willing to go, and they're calling on Trump to create this program where they draft doctors and send them over there. We don't have a draft. Of course
they are.
Yeah,
of course they are.
Because Orange Man is bad for not doing it.
Right, and if it goes tits up, they can point the blame at him. And when everybody goes back to sanity and they realize how crazy it was, they can point the blame at him. It's lose-lose no matter what he does. If he doesn't do it, oh, you have no heart. If he does do it, oh, you're engaging in slavery. If he does do it and nothing permanently bad happens, oh, you're a tyrant, or you were a tyrant. It's like fucking plausible deniability for these people. Political gamemanship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty ridiculous. I can't stand these people. This is the thing. The Democrats are always the ones pretending that they're the ones in favor of people's rights or whatever the case may be. They're not, though. They are the first ones to call for slavery when it suits their ends. Remember, this is the party that has been supporting national programs for the purpose of climate change, for years now, calling for mandatory national service to build solar panels or green energies or whatever the case may be. Like, oh, we need to take 18-year-olds and put them in a national service in order to fight climate change. And this is just an extension of that mindset. Whenever you think you have a good idea, force people to take part in it, right? Oh, we want people to join the military, to fight a war, force them. We want people to join a national service crew so they can build roads and solar panels, force them. Oh, we have a pandemic. We need doctors to go to New York, force them. Let's not even consider voluntary means. Let's not even think about that. Why not make a program where you pay doctors a ridiculous wage to risk their lives to go into a hotspot and save people's lives, right? Now, we're already spending trillions of dollars to fight this thing. Why not give some of that to the doctors who are going to be going to the front lines to do this, right? Pay them. Pay them enough to make it worth their while. Don't even think about forcing people to do that. That is disgusting. That is evil. And you're an evil person for even suggesting that.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about that. I don't know what it is with people from New York. They turn into fucking tyrants. They want to be kings of the little serfdoms.
Yep.
Right? De Blasio, Cuomo, all these people. They just want to be tyrants of their own little realms. And every now and then they get a big head and think they can be tyrants of the entire country. And people don't like New York Democrats. They don't. New York Democrats are fucking nuts. This is not just California Democrats. We don't like either of those guys. That's why federalism is a good thing. That's why Nebraska and states from the Midwest need a level of independence from the federal government, that we don't have to listen to the dictates of these tyrants in Washington, D.C.
Yep. Or New York.
Or New York. Or from anywhere, right? Like, and you know what? People in New York, they shouldn't have to listen to us either. Right? Let them ruin their own lives if they want to and leave us alone. And we'll leave them alone too. They probably don't want Lincoln, Nebraska dictating things to them either. And they shouldn't. Why should they have that? That would be ridiculous. But anyway. Oh, you wanted to talk about Louisiana using a curfew siren straight from The Purge.
Oh, God, that is... They say in the article, okay, so give a little bit of background. There's a town called Crowley, Louisiana, which, Crowley, if you know anything about your history, is kind of weird enough in and of itself. But Crowley, Louisiana, they decided to institute a coronavirus curfew because apparently the virus is extra active at night. I guess. Who fucking knows?
It's a night owl. It likes to party.
Corona loves to party. But anyways, yes, so they decided to institute this coronavirus curfew, and when the curfew goes into effect, the police were driving around blaring a siren to announce the curfew, and it was the siren from the Purge movies.
That's hilarious.
And they say in the article that I sent to you from the Hill that the cops were like, "Oh, we didn't know where this siren come from. We just, our department gave it to us on an MP3 to play over the siren. So, take it up with them." And then the chief of police was like, "Oh, I just got, this siren noise off the internet." But I'm willing to bet that somebody at the department was like, "Hey, let's do the Purge siren. That'll be funny. Everybody will find that funny." Turns out nobody thought it was funny.
I think it's funny.
Nobody thought it was funny at all in that town. And to me, it's one of two things. It's either A, somebody at the police department thought they'd have a good troll and it kind of backfired, or B, they're just rubbing it in our faces at this point. Just grabbing us by the nape of the neck and shoving our noses right in it and being like, "How do you like that authoritarianism? We can do whatever we want, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it."
See, I like to think that it's a funny, because that sounds like something I might do.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna scare the shit out of all these people. Like, you hear that? That's the purge siren. Oh shit! Get your guns.
Yep.
Okay, and it's Louisiana too, so everyone there has guns.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, guys, time to boog. Oh wait, it's just the sheriff department being jackasses. God damn it!
Lame.
We were
Worst
gonna get to
apocalypse
boog.
ever.
Man, I finally thought the boog was on. Turns out it's just the sheriff being dumbasses again.
Yep.
That's they're playing the purge sirens. Can you imagine if the tornado sirens go off here and it's the purge?
I would be like, today's the day.
For the next 12 hours, all crime is legal. Like, wait, what?
Oh, oh shit! I'm gonna start a permitless lemonade stand. Bring it on.
Man, I know I had that sex register list here somewhere. Aha, there it is.
There.
There's a pedophile just down the street. Let's go. I kept this list for
honey,
my day has come.
Where's my super suit?
Where is my super suit? We're talking about the greater good.
Yeah, speaking of that saying, that is the one that I think when all of this blows over, you're going to have two camps of people. You're going to have people that are going to be filing FOIA requests and civil rights lawsuits like there's no tomorrow.
Well,
and then you're going to, and then you're going to have the collectivist bootlickers using the greater good apologetics, trying to oh no, it was only temporary, blur, 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 blur.
Yeah, how much of this shit's going to be temporary, do you think?
There is nothing so permanent as a temporary government program, my friend.
See, that's the thing about it. You can't, like, I don't think that a lot of this stuff is going to be permanent, but some of it is, right? Some of this is going to be permanent, and you now have set the precedent that you can just lock down the state at your own say-so. You don't need approval from anybody, right? You don't even need the freaking legislature in your state to approve it. You can just say so. It's an emergency. Lock everything down.
Right.
And that's that.
Right.
You've
and
set that precedent now.
The memory of how easy it was to get everybody to cower in the corner and wet themselves is what's going to be the permanent fixture amongst our ruling class from now on. Hell, there doesn't even need to really be a virus next time. They can just get their water carriers in the media to blow something out of proportion, declare an emergency, lock everything down, and you will be expected to do so because you've been conditioned to do so.
You've already done it, right? You did it before. You can do it again. And they're going to remember that. And you're going to have to remember this too. You're going to have to remember that this government that you're giving all this power to run your life, you're going to need to take that power back. You have the guts to do it. Are you going to fight back against them? Right? Are you going to elect the same assholes into power over and over and over again? Right? Say you think they did the right thing. Let's say you think they did the right thing to fight this virus. You should still vote their asses out because they now think that they have the power to rule over you. And if that's in their mind, they shouldn't be in power over you. They should be kicked out immediately. Even if you think they did the right thing, even if you think that, still vote them out. Get rid of them. Don't let them rule you a second longer. Don't let that taste of power become permanent in their mind. Take that power away from them the minute this crisis is done. Right? And that's if you think they're doing the right thing. If you think they're not doing the right thing, that goes double for you.
Yep, that's right. I, with great suspicion, any man who approaches the jewel of liberty.
I mean, that's the thing. If you're in a position of political power, and even if you think you have to take these steps, you shouldn't stay in power after that. You should resign. You should realize that you overstepped your bounds, even if you think it was necessary. You have bitten from the forbidden fruit and should not be allowed to remain in power.
Mm-hmm.
That should be it for you. And you should be okay with that. But we do not have politicians who actually care about people, who actually care about the greater good. They're in it for themselves and their personal glorification. And because of that, you won't see this happen. You won't see these people resign from their positions after this. They will stay in and try to portray themselves as heroes.
Yep.
There's no greater lie than the idea that politicians are heroes. They're not. Even the greatest politicians out there, even Ron Paul, not a hero in any political context, because politicians aren't heroes, right? The best thing a politician can be is a guy that stands against government encroachment. That's the best he can do. He can do no positive good because he's a politician. Politicians do no positive good. All they can do is hold back the tide of tyranny. That's all they can do. They cannot create a better society. You know who are heroes? People who take part in economic commerce on the day-to-day level. People who have real jobs out in the economy, who create stuff, who provide goods and services. Those are heroes, right? There's no politician has ever done anything that's worthy of being praised as heroism. Politicians are not heroes.
Right.
And they are not public servants.
I think I can break that down for you. Politicians cannot do good. They can only not do evil.
Perfect. That's a perfect saying.
Yes.
And with that, we will end tonight's episode. All right. I think we did a good job. You know, maybe not, but maybe we did. I don't know. You guys are all stuck in lockdown. We, essential worshiper master race individuals, must go out into the world tomorrow and continue to provide good and services to all you people stuck at home. So you're welcome for that. We are the real heroes here, actually. Me and Hobbs, us specifically.
Yes.
Give us your praise, America.
Yes. And some money. I've got some guns I want to buy.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. It's been fun. Remember, go to the website, think-liberty.com. Subscribe to us and like us on Facebook, because we know we love seeing you guys on Facebook. All right, everybody, have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.